Hi, and welcome to our demonstration for the Minerva Online Supplier Approval System, brought to you by Food Chain Europe. The purpose of this demonstration is to take you through the system's functionality and give you a taste of how easy yet effective it is to use. Minerva has been developed to help take the stress and paperwork out of your annual supplier risk assessments required by BRC certified food manufacturers. It does this by taking your risk assessment questionnaires and supporting documentation and storing it in one easily accessible online hub that can be accessed 24 hours a day. So, how does it work? Upon activation of your system, Food Chain Europe will give you access details for both manufacturer administrator and inspectors. We will explain the difference between the two in just a moment. You will then receive a confirmation email from the system detailing your usernames and passwords. We will then require accurate contact details for all of your suppliers, usually in the form of a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. Our administrators will then populate your account and communicate directly with your suppliers to help them access the system. Whilst this is happening, we will also be working closely with you to develop an electronic questionnaire your suppliers can not only fill in, but also upload valuable supporting documentation based around your current form. Once this has been completed, we will then allocate one form to each of your suppliers. At this point, your system is set up and ready to go. Your suppliers will be notified by the system that they are required to complete your approval questionnaire. So, let's go into the system itself and see how it works. First of all, let's log in as the supplier, inputting the username and password they will receive by email. As you can see, once your supplier is logged into the welcome screen, they will be alerted to the fact they have one form waiting in the top left-hand corner. To access it, they simply click on the sentence. On the next page, the supplier will be able to see the form is from you. To get started, they click Start Form to begin. The first part of this particular example form is used to collate the basic company information of your supplier, such as names and contact details. In addition, the form is also designed with product and import agents in mind. As you can see, if your supplier doesn't manufacture their product, there are additional fields to collate the manufacturer's information. Now, if we go to the bottom of the page, we will click Save, then click Next to continue. Moving on to page 2, you can see this is where the supplier can start uploading their supporting documentation. For example, you may require your supplier to provide photos of their site. So, as an example, we will upload a photo of the exterior. A popular question manufacturers ask is, does the site hold a food safety standard certification? As you can see here, we can click Yes, select the standard and upload a copy of the certificate. As a supplier goes through the entire form, filling out the required fields and uploading the required data, they are now ready to submit it. Once the supplier has submitted their form, they can keep an eye on the progress by going into the Forms Overview page. Here, they will be able to view any forms that are pending review and also view any accepted and rejected forms. One of the great features of Minerva is the certifications page. It is really important we get the supplier to upload their certificates not only to the forms but to this page as well. As you can see, we can tell the system when a particular certificate is due to expire and also upload a copy of the certificate. The Food Chain Administration team can then monitor the expiry dates and inform you and the supplier a month in advance of expiry that the certificate is due for renewal. Let's log out as the supplier now and log back in as an inspector. So, let's log in as the inspector, inputting the username and password they will receive by email. When an inspector wants to review the questionnaires, they simply need to go to the Forms Overview page via this drop-down box. They will then be able to see a list of forms submitted for review. To open a form, simply click the form ID number. Here, you will recognise page 1 of the form the supplier has just submitted, containing all of their generic information. I'll explain what these post-it note symbols are in just a moment. So, let's move to a page where the supplier has uploaded supporting documentation. We can see here the client has uploaded a copy of their allergen risk assessment. The inspector simply clicks to view the document. Let me now explain what the post-it note symbols are for. The inspector has noticed that the supplier has failed to upload photos of their site and a copy of a valid BRC certificate. When they click on the symbol, a text box appears giving the facility to type the nature of the query, also giving it a priority. Upon saving, a new red post-it symbol will appear next to the question, indicating that action is needed on this area. The inspector has reviewed the entire form and only has issues on page 2. They can now unlock the form and send it back to the supplier along with their comments. The supplier will then receive an email indicating the form has been unlocked and action is required. Before we log back in as the supplier, let's log in as the manufacturer administrator to give you an overview of what they can see. The manufacturer administrator can still go into Forms Overview and view all approved, rejected and submitted forms. If we open the form the inspector has just reviewed, the first thing you will notice is there are no post-it note symbols. This is because the manufacturer administrator cannot start a comment stream. However, they are able to comment on existing streams started by an inspector. So, let's quickly add a comment as an example, then log out from the manufacturer access. So, let's again log in as the supplier, inputting the username and password. To retrieve an unlocked form, the supplier will go into Saved Forms and click on the form ID number. Moving into page 2, we can see where the inspector wants us to provide further information. As you can see, the photos have already been uploaded, so let's upload the BRC certificate and add a comment to the thread. Now the supplier has provided all the additional information the inspector requested, they can now save and resubmit the form for review. Finally, we will log back in as the inspector. Open the resubmitted form from the Forms Overview page and go straight to page 2. The inspector can see that the supplier has now uploaded all the documentation. A click on the document link will allow them to see the uploaded certificate. As this was the only area the inspector raised concerns about, they are now happy to approve the supplier based on this form. So, if we click Approve and move back into Forms Overview, we can now see that the form has moved from Submitted to Approved, and the supplier will receive an email informing them that the form has been approved. If you look here, you can export this information to an Excel spreadsheet. This can then become your approved supplier list for BRC purposes.